some of my... That was a seagull. Hello everybody and welcome to the Paper Booklight. My name is Laura Munoz and I have to say I'm really glad to be back. So after a short hiatus where I had to take my English exams, as you might see in my social media accounts, I am applying for a master's degree in translation, so I needed those exams. I am back. So today's book is Brooklyn by Colm Tóibín. This is one of the sectors for the 2018 sessions of the Cambridge Proficiency Exam. It's published by Penguin and in Spain you can find it under the same name but published by Lumen, which is an imprint of Penguin Spain. This book was the winner of the Costa Noble Award in 2009. This is the story of Alice. She's a young lady from Ireland who emigrates to Brooklyn in order to have a better future. So at the beginning of the book we see her working in a grocery store. Then her sister Rose, who plays golf on weekends, and she meets this priest who helps her to move to Brooklyn. The book is divided in 4 parts. Through these 4 parts we see how she's establishing herself, like how she got there, because it is not like now that if you are homesick and you've got the means you just get in a plane and you're there in 3 hours. So she was like a week on the boat, the conditions weren't really good at all, you know. She starts working for a department store called Bertocci's. How she is adapting to Brooklyn, how she's starting her studies, how she meets Tony and develops a loving relationship with him. And also after a really unexpected event, she has to go back to Ireland immediately. She is with this dilemma of should I stay or should I go back to Brooklyn where I have my life? Should I leave my mother or what shall I do? So especially as a young lady, it's like, should I follow my sense of duty or just, you know, stay there? And I have to say that as a young immigrant, I felt really connected to this book because when you arrive to a new country, you kind of start growing your own roots. You leave what you've got behind, you know, and you start a new life basically. This is something that you can see throughout the book, that American society was changing. She was new to the town, you know, she was growing her roots. As I mentioned before, this is one of the texts for the 2018 sessions of the Cambridge Proficiency Exam. They will ask you to take into account certain aspects of the book and write either a review or an article. In my case it was a letter, and I had to highlight a very important aspect of this book, which are letters. Unlike nowadays that you just, you know, call your parents or do a Skype session, her main way of communications was letters, which take time, you know, and it was very interesting to see like the different nuances that these letters had. For instance, Alice and Rose were communicating through these letters, but she was sending them to her office because they were talking about like sensitive questions that maybe her mother wouldn't understand. She had some other brothers that emigrated to England. At first, you know, when she's receiving these letters, she starts to feeling like really homesick. They kind of triggered this anxiety that she has because she wants to be there. She's not able to go back soon. So she's feeling like really guilty as well because she feels like she's leaving behind and kind of not betraying, but she's charging all this responsibility to an older sister who is full of life as well, and she wants to get married and you know, get out of the house. Then there's the mother who's a widow. The letters that she's writing to Tony. Nowadays relationships of all sorts are more immediate, so seeing this kind of, you know, expectation, new expectation when it comes to snail mail, that's a really interesting point to take into account. And well, I have to say that to me this was a really enjoyable read. With or without the pressure of sitting these exams, you know. It is short in the sense of you can read it in a couple of days. It's not too complex, and in my opinion it's got so many layers because, you know, the unexpected event, I have to say that it was really unexpected for me. And if you read the book again, you start asking yourself so many questions, because at the beginning there is this sort of foreshadowing where it's building you the expectation that that thing is gonna happen to that person in specific, but it's not. Something that we were commenting as well, that this plot twist was really unexpected. Were the intentions of this deceased character pure in the beginning, or apparently they knew that this was going to happen and therefore they were like building the path for this person who is Alice, you know? So it's really interesting and it's got many layers. And to be honest, I felt that I needed a little bit more closure towards the end, because it left me with so many questions. I was like, okay, but what's gonna happen afterwards? If you got any questions about the Cambridge proficiency exams, do not hesitate to leave me a comment. I will also leave some of the materials that I was using to study. The other set text for the 2018 sessions is The Light Between Oceans by M.L. Steadman, which is also published by Penguin, and you can find it in Spanish under the name of La Luz entre los océanos, published by Salamandra. So if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, give me a thumbs up, have a look to my other videos as well as my social media accounts, which I am leaving you here. And if you're gonna sit the same exam, just leave me a comment. Also, if you read the book or The Light Between Oceans, leave me a comment as well and we can have a wee debate. So, see you soon!